This is $100 camera, no raw, no log, just point and shoot. And this flat image is what it looks like out of the box.
But what if I could make it look like it belongs on the big screen? 90% of what you see on screen is lighting. Learn how to shape it with mood and intention, and therefore the camera doesn't matter anymore. Today, I'm taking on a challenge. Can I use just light to make this cheap camera look expensive?
Without light, there is no image.
Light hits the subject, it reflects, the camera records it. Simple, right? But most people don't know how to shape it, control it, or use it with intent. This challenge isn't about proving a point, it's about revealing a truth. If you can master light, you can tell cinematic stories with anything.
You don't start with gear, you start with light.
And that's my goal in this video, to break down the fundamentals of film lighting to anyone who's trying to master this craft. As I take on a challenge of making this $100 camera look expensive, cinematographers or directors of photography do more than just choose lenses. They shape every frame with intention. They light for story, for mood, for meaning. The tools are light and shadows. The medium is time and emotion. That's what this challenge is really about.
Can I replicate the cinematic process with next to no gear, just using my understanding of lighting?
Not all light is created equal, and not all light is usable. Before even I begin, I need to understand what kind of light am I working with. Light comes in two forms:
Natural light,
sunlight, moonlight, fire. It's free but unpredictable.
artificial light,
Lamps, LEDs, street lights. Controlled but limited by your gear. Most cinematographers don't just show up and shoot.
they shape and augment whatever light they find.
If I walk into a location and rely on ambient light alone, I lose control of the image. But if I understand how to work with it, shape it, and therefore modify it, I can start painting. So what's the advantage of natural light?
It's free, it's abundant, and it can look incredible, especially during golden hour.
But the downside, it changes fast. Artificial light, on the other hand, is consistent. It gives you control, and control is power.
And then there's ambient light, whatever's already in the space.
It could be a neon sign. It could be a flickering lamp. It could be a street light spill. That's not always a bad thing, but unless it's motivated, it's just chaos. In cinema, we don't just light because. We light for a reason, and that reason it's called
Motivation.
If light makes sense in a scene, it's motivated. And once it's motivated, it becomes invisible to the audience. And that's where immersion begins. You might feel tempted to blame your camera, your lens, or your budget for a flat and inspired image. But that will be the wrong response. All great cinematographers start with one thing:
Light.
And they understand it through four key attributes.
Quantity.
This is about how much light is hitting your subject. More light doesn't always mean better.
It depends on mood, space, and exposure.
Light intensity changes based on two things: the power of the source and the distance from the subject. The farther the light, the less effective it is.
This is the inverse square law.
So even with a weak light, when you bring it close enough, it can look strong.
Quality.
Light creates different kinds of shadows. Hard light gives sharp shadows.
Great for drama,
soft light wraps around the face.
Perfect for warmth and romance.
Soft light is created through diffusion, placing a material between the light and the subject. It could be a soft box, a silk, a shower curtain, or just bouncing it off a white wall.
Direction.
Where the light comes from affects how we see the subject. The front light can look flat, side light adds depth and emotion. Overhead lighting creates mystery. Under lighting can be eerie or surreal. And sometimes you don't light directly, you bounce. Bounce lighting is a powerful trick. Aim your light at a white surface and therefore let it reflect naturally onto your subject. This softens and expands the source.
Color.
Light has color, measured in temperature. Lower values,
like 3200 Kelvin are warm.
Higher values,
like 5600 Kelvin are cool.
And here's the secret. Different lights have different native colors. Sunlight changes throughout the day. A warm lamp in the background mixed with cool window light. That's visual poetry.
But only if done intentionally.
Understanding these 4 key attributes give you control. And control is how you go from capturing images to crafting them.
Now let's talk gear.
There are 3 cores in a basic light setup.
Key light.
The main source. It creates the dominant shape on the subject's face. It's usually placed at a 45-degree angle.
Fill light.
Used to lighten shadows caused by the key. It's softer, more subtle, and it's typically on the opposite side.
Backlight.
Placed behind the subject, often higher, to separate them from the background. With just these 3 lighting setup, you can make a subject feel 3-dimensional. But you don't need expensive tools. A lamp, a bounce board, and some window light can do this.
It's not about what you have, it's about what you understand.
We use the term lighting all the time, but really, it's about contrast. The dance between light and shadow. High contrast means drama. Low contrast means openness.
This is where you decide the style of your image. High key lighting.
Soft shadows, low contrast, lots of feel. Used in comedies, commercials, and daytime scenes.
Low key lighting.
Deep shadows, minimal feel, sharp moods. Used in thrillers, dramas, and neon.
The term chiaroscuro
comes from Renaissance painting. It's all about using strong contrast to add depth. We still use it in modern cinematography because shadows make things feel real.
A person can be lit from 360 degrees.
But how you choose to light them changes how we feel about them.
3-point lighting
is the baseline. It gives us shape, depth, and separation. From here we evolve into more specific portrait setups.
Broad lighting.
It makes a face appear wider, useful for stylized openness.
Short lighting
lights the far side of the face. It creates drama and shadow. More cinematic, more emotional.
Butterfly lighting.
Light from above creates a shadow under the nose. Classic Hollywood glamour.
Loop lighting.
Off-center light creates a circular shadow behind the nose. Great for headshots.
Rembrandt lighting.
Look for the triangle of light under the eye. Dramatic and natural.
Split lighting.
Light only one side of the face. Intense and stylized.
Rim lighting.
Light from behind outlines the subject. It makes them pop from the background. Heroic, isolating, bold.
These setups aren't rules, they're tools. Learn them, then make them your own. Let's take all this theory and apply it to real shooting conditions. The interior.
Use window light. Place subjects where light hits naturally. Control it with curtains, bounce boards, and flags.
The exterior.
Shoot during golden hour, just after sunrise or before sunset, for cinematic softness. Use bounce or diffusion to control shadows.
Night interior.
Mix light sources for mood. A warm practical lamp paired with moonlight creates a color contrast and story.
Night exterior.
Use backlight from street lamps, car headlights, or control rigs. Just make sure your subject is separated from the dark background.
Each scenario needs a plan. Think like a painter. Where do you want the eye to go?
Many cheap cameras don't shoot RAW, but some still offer flat picture profiles like Cine Style, Neutral, or Log. Use them. They give you more dynamic range and therefore flexibility in post-production. This preserves highlights and therefore shadows, which is the soul of a cinematic image. Color correction is where your image comes alive. Here's the goal.
Preserve skin tones, add contrast, create a cohesive mood.
Use your waveform to control exposure. Keep blacks at 0, highlights under 100. Fill the frame with range, but don't crash or clip. Use the Lumetri color panel or any correction tool.
Exposure and contrast, shadows and highlights, saturation and white balance.
To adjust, then shape your image with use saturation curves. But go easy, a beautiful shot can be ruined by overgrading. Let the light do the heavy lifting. Movie making is a trick. The audience sees emotion, but behind the scenes, it's lights, diffusion, flags, and reflectors. Everything is a choice.
Use 24 FPS, match your shutter speed, prioritize sound, choose wardrobes and props that match the story.
Cinema isn't about realism, it's about believability. Make your frame believable and you have won. Remember that flat footage from the opening scene? Now look at this.
Same gear, same location, but now cinematic lighting.
It's not just a technical trick, it's a creative transformation. In cinematography, lighting is the foundation. It's what elevates a moment, shapes a face, sells emotion. A good camera helps, but a well-lit shot,
That's timeless.
you don't need more gear, you need more vision. Start simple, learn the basics, experiment, and above all,
Light with intention.
that's how you make even $100 camera look like $1 million. If this gave you insight, share it. If you want more, subscribe. Because cinematic storytelling doesn't come from a budget.
It comes from belief.